At ease, brothers. I am Soul. The shortcomings of the domesticated man. The shortcomings of the domesticated man. How copy? Now, I want to talk about this, man, because I can relate to this. Like I can really look back in life and see where I've fallen in this same trap, right? I can look at this and see where several brothers fall in this same trap as far as, them being in relationships and as far as them achieving their greatness, right? The shortcomings of the domesticated man. Now, let me say this, man. Starting off, let me say this. Like I love seeing men in relationships. I love seeing men in family scenarios. I love seeing men having families and creating legacy and all that stuff, man. Matter of fact, just the other day on the Power Circle call, there's a brother, man, that's dear to me. And I was complimenting him, man. This brother's always posting pictures of his family, his kids, just bought a brand new nice home, owns his own business. It's just a beautiful thing, the American dream, and he shares that. I said, brother, I like seeing that because brothers need to see that. Like with all this, hate women hate men type information that's floating around the web, people need to see that, right? But that type scenario is rare, man. Like if we're honest with ourselves, when we see most men in relationships, if we're honest with ourselves, if we see most men in marriages, those men are hitting, or those men are becoming lower versions of what they could possibly be. They're tapping into lower versions of themselves. And what I'm saying is, most men in relationships don't achieve the greatness that they're available to hit. You know what I'm saying? Most men never hit that highest point of greatness. Now, am I saying that brothers should be single? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. There are many benefits of having a nice wife on your side, man. That can be a helpmeet. There's benefits to having children and extending your legacy. But brothers, most men won't go as far as they possibly could simply due to the fact that they're in relationships. Is that saying that relationships are a bad thing? Not at all. What it's saying is that mankind is different. That mankind is now a different species, right? It's kind of like, when I look at this scenario, it's kind of like when a man goes hiking, because y'all know I love going hiking, man. And I can remember when I went hiking in the Grand Canyon. I remember I had my water, I had, plenty enough food. And that's really all I needed to sustain me and to achieve this, I believe, 8.7 mile decline down to the bottom, right? But I also took things like, I took a book or two. I took a few extra snacks that really wasn't, didn't have to have a few candy bars or whatever, right? And just having these extra things that I really didn't need to reach my goal, but they took a toll on me. They took a toll on me. Now, am I saying that, a woman and children and all that stuff is extra baggage? Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that people have the ability to take energy from a man. Like I always talk about this. I always say, you know what? When a man gets a house, when a man gets a car, when a man gets the watch and belts and all that stuff, this stuff is good. But this stuff requires energy on a daily basis. Like this stuff requires source energy, essence from you to stay in existence, right? So all I'm saying is, that women do, drain energy from a man, right? And if a man is unaware, he can easily, be deterred from his greatness. And it brings me to Brother LeVar Arrington, man. I was watching the show, a clip, a snippet from a much larger show. I guess it was T.O.'s show, T.O. and Hatch. And they were interviewing Brother LeVar. And I'm sure the whole interview consisted of some good topics. But the snippet I saw, they started off asking him about the Hall of Fame, right? And LeVar said this. He said, when I see brothers getting inducted into the Hall of Fame every year, he said, man, I feel some type of way, right? And he said, it's not that I don't feel like those brothers, deserve to be there. He said, I just think that I'm better. He says, I'm a better player, right? And then he says, if you look at my stats are much better than these guys, but it's that the fact that they had the ability to go on a much longer time, right? Then he says, well, the reason I wasn't able to go so long in my career is because of my injuries, right? And he said I was 255 pounds, I believe. He said, and I was just on a regular basis, man, damaging my cartilage, damaging my bones. And at some point he damaged his ACL, right? And said, he said, I knew that was my last game as soon as it happened, right? And then the conversation started transitioning, right? He said, the only reason, my body was in that shape is because my work ethic was gone. He said, when I got married, I completely lost the work ethic that I had. And brother, I'm telling you, the conversation started going a completely different direction. It was focused more on the effect of him and his wife. And the thing is, when he made that statement, it would be easy for a person, man or woman, to say, you know what? Oh, he's using that as a cop-out. Oh, the brother's just salty he didn't make it. Now he wants to blame his wife for that. That was no part of his energy. He spoke nothing but good things about his wife. Matter of fact, he said the thing is I just found happiness in something else outside of football. So I started pouring my energy into that. And I lost my work ethic. He said before that, man, I had this animalistic state. He said I was living life on all fours, eating raw meat, I believe he said, type mentality. And he said once I got married, he said I just became this domesticated man. I believe he said this strict homo sapien, type, just straight human. It took that animal out of him. And then he said this. He said, after all that, me understanding what took place, me understanding that me getting married took that fire out of me. He said, I'm not even mad about it. I'm not even mad about it. But he's fully aware that that scenario is possibly what cost him being in a Hall of Fame status right now, right? Now, I can respect this brother for his mindset. I can respect this brother for the love he talked about his wife. I can respect the way he presented this whole thing. But brothers, I've said this a million times and I'll continue to say it. We can never fall in love with a woman. And that has nothing to do with loving a woman, providing a woman, protecting a woman, giving a woman, affection and all that stuff. But when I say that means you can't put a woman, you can't put children, you can't put family, you can't put anything over purpose or over greatness. And this is a prime example on why we can't, man. This is a prime example on why we can't. Am I saying that men shouldn't get in relationships and get married and find love? I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that a man has to be strict in his ways. He has to be set in his ways. He has to know who he is. He has to know where he's going. He has to know what his daily habits are before a woman even comes into his life. He has to have concrete poured on who he is, man. And I'm telling you, I can relate to this. Like I can look back in my life, man. I can think back to relationships in my 20s, relationships that I entertained in my 30s. And I can see where when I was single, I was tapped into a greater version of myself. When I was single, I can see where I was, maybe working out more, reading more, taking walks around the block more, spending more time doing positive things, writing business plans, making YouTube videos or whatever. And I can see points in my life where I got in a relationship and those things just fell to the wayside. And I know there are several men that go through this. And to be honest, I think it's just, it's hard to pinpoint what it is, man. Like it just comes down to the way society has created man to be, man. Like I believe society as a whole has taught us to take this animalistic, nature out of us when a woman comes in. A woman comes in your life, man, it's like, yeah, no, I want to spend quality time with you, man. I want to be close to you. I want to be intimate. I want to do fun things. But it's something that's trained us, has taught us that goes over everything else, man. And to be honest, it's not in our nature. It's not even in a woman's nature. When it comes down to it, man, a woman can say a million things. She can say, I want a man to be there 24 hours a day. She doesn't even want that. A woman wants a man's priority to be his goal, his greatness. Because that's part of him providing and protecting and all the stuff that she craves, man. So it's it's just an imbalance on both sides, right? But to avoid this, brothers, because I don't think we should be preaching this, men go your own way for the rest of your life, or women go your own way for the rest of your life. But to avoid this, brothers, you have to be a man that defines yourself first. And I'm really speaking to the brothers that are, coming out of school in your 20s, your early 30s, during the time of your life where you're meeting a woman and you're possibly having kids and getting married. But it applies to all men. Define yourself first, brothers. When I say that, I mean, know who you are. Know where you're going. If you're going to bring a woman in your life, understand how she fits in your life. Have your habits already laid out. Have concrete already poured around, the man that you're trying to be, man. Be set in your ways. Be set in your ways. Be a zero compromise type man. Because that's the only way you're going to have a successful relationship and tap into your greatness. There are far too many men that have greatness in them and can still achieve a lot of good things. But to achieve that greatness that they're capable of, a lot of men are sacrificing that to have a happy wife, happy life type scenario, man. A lot of men are sacrificing that just to appease what they think their wife really wants, man. So we have to be men that define ourselves first, man, and see where she fits in. Like I said a million times before, man, nothing goes over your purpose, right? Nothing goes over your greatness. Nothing fills that sanctum sanctorum but purpose and God.